So you'd like your dog to be steady to wing and shot. How do you teach this? Well, it starts by being able to stop your dog. How do you stop a car? With a brake. How can you stop your dog? With a brake. The way I teach steady to wing and shot, it's centered around the dog having a thorough understanding of what whoa means. And when I teach it, I always overlay the e-collar so that I have a way to enforce it in the field. And if you don't know how to teach whoa, I suggest you look at my whoa video where I go step by step, which includes whoa at heel, where I later introduce the belly band, whoa with the buddy stick, whoa with the check cord, and finally, whoa while running free in the field. During the training of this, the verbal whoa should be given infrequently and in a normal tone, no shouting. But the e-collar stem can be applied as needed with no negative effect as long as the collar level is appropriate and the dog understands how to turn off the stimulation. With a solid whoa in place, the dog is taken step by step for the steadiness training and taught to stand steady to wing in the yard, stand steady to shot in the yard, stand steady to wing and shot in the field while not pointing, and then finally, stand steady to wing in the shot in the field while pointing. Tips that I suggest you use during this training are: use multiple birds for each bird contact. This not only helps speed up the steadiness training, it has the benefit of increasing the dog's intensity after you flush the bird. Be sure to mix in a few stop to flush drills. We want our dogs to slam their points as soon as they've positively identified there's a bird on the ground, and that only occurs when the dog thinks that the bird will flush if they just get 1 inch closer than they are at the moment. Go back and physically release your dog. This just makes it crystal clear for your dog as to when they're permitted to leave. And for those who are just starting with their dogs and will be using my whoa video to get started, I would suggest using a helper at the very end of that training to hold a check cord or to simply stand on the check cord to prevent the dog from chasing at the end as I allowed, since you're not going to allow them to chase now. Which takes me to my next tip here. A helper and a check cord for all of this training will allow you to train with less stress on the dog and allow you to use less stimulation. When you train alone, you have to use enough collar to get the dog to stop. But with a helper, you can use a lower level of stim knowing that the helper will stop the dog with the check cord. The helper is not to keep the check cord tight, and I suggest allowing the dog at least 8 to 10 feet of slack to give you the opportunity to stop the dog with the collar. Lastly, if at any point you find that you're having a lot of trouble, go back a step or two and continue to reinforce that before you try to go forward. You can go too fast, but you can never go too slow. So let's look at my dog Cass as she goes through this training. Whoop. Note that I'm using low-level nicks here to help her stay put. Nick. Nick. Here I squat down, which just draws her to me. Nick, 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 Nick. Whoop! I elected to try that without the verbal whoa, but I was unsuccessful. Whoop. All right. I do the same thing in this segment and throughout the rest of the video. Nick or Nick, Nick, Nick to stop the dog. Cass, come here. Nick, Nick, Nick. Good girl. Nick. Etc. Cass, come here. Oh, good girl. All right, let's go. After completing my woe training with birds, some dogs style up in the field when woed. Cass is one of those dogs. When the wind direction is obvious, point the bird into the wind, which will be away from the dog. Here, there was no appreciable wind. Here she moves one front foot and one back foot to be more comfortable, but she's not creeping. This video provides a good outline on teaching steadiness, but note the following. I haven't planted any birds that were not in a launcher yet. So when I go to dizzying up birds and planting them that way, it's going to be a lot more tempting when Cass starts to see birds run around in front of her. And another thing, I haven't shot any birds. So if that's something you're interested in, steady to wing shot and fall, that's just another level of steadiness that you're going to have to work through. And we work through it just as I did here. You'll be using the belly band and just slowly progressing until they've mastered each new step. And steadiness it's not like a one-time event. You don't just teach it and then boom, my dog's steady, for the rest of his or her life. It's an ongoing skill that you need to keep sharp. And so I know of guys who they will not shoot their own birds. When they have a dog on the ground, they're strictly focusing on their dog to make sure they remain steady to wing and shot, while a friend will shoot the bird, and then oftentimes they'll just switch, and then I'll become the shooter while my friend handles his dogs to make sure that they stay steady. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. And at the beginning of the video, I indicated that I was going to have a launcher giveaway. And this is actually my preferred launcher. And ironically, it's one that's not even available anymore. But what I like about it is that it's about half the weight of the modern ones. And so I can just carry a single launcher out in the field with me, and I can take a bag with 5 birds, or I can take two bags with 10 birds, and then I can just walk along and just distribute the finds along my hunt to make it a little more realistic. And to load the thing, it's the only one you can kind of load on the fly. Just grab your bird, put it in, and you are good to go. It's just something you can't do with any of the other launchers. So anyway, if you're a subscriber and you're interested, send me an email to launchergiveaway@mail.com, and on New Year's Eve I will randomly draw a name and I'll post in the comment section the winner, and after they give me their mailing address, I'll ship it free. So anyway, thank you for watching, and good luck with your dog.